For my file folder project, I decided to do a math file folder, and I found a really cool game online which I will cite on web courses called Multiplication Dash. So I took the template because the actual Math Geek Mama had it as a free downloadable template, and it had a really cool design, super easy to follow with really great directions. So what the game is for students, they would take turns rolling a dice, and they would have little pawns. So each student would roll a die, and whatever number their dice would land on is the number of spaces that they would move on this little game board. So if, for example, they rolled the dice and they got a 2, they would put their little pawn right here, and then they would solve for the number, and if they got it correct, they would stay there. If not, they would move back to start. And in the directions, you can see that it clearly states all that information. So on the back is where I have all the pieces. So I decided to keep it in a Ziploc bag, and I have it really taped onto the back. And I have game pawns, and I have a dice with 6 sides, and I have 2 dry erase markers to level the questions. And to make it just a little bit more challenging for students, I decided to add fact families to the next side. So let me get out the dry erase markers here. So students would take their die if they're going to play the game once and just play it as the directions state. Then they would play a game the second time. After you've played the game one time, it is time for you to play again. This time you will follow the same directions, but when you land on a multiplication problem and solve it, you complete the fact family house below. So students would roll the die, land on 4. So if you had your pawn at start, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4. The student landed on 5 times 10. So the student would plug that into the chart here. So students would solve out here. So 50. And obviously a student probably wouldn't be able to solve it that quick, but it would give them a chance to work on their fact families and just take this game one step further here. And I put a bonus question so they could even take it one step further. So as you can see, I have a little excerpt here listed about how fact families are a collection of related facts made from the same numbers using inverse operations. So a facts family is made of 3 numbers that creates 4 equations. So the fact family is going to be created using our 2 division and our 2 multiplication problems. Students are using the dry erase markers on the fact family house, so that way they can just come right off. And our bonus question is how are multiplication and division related. This way students can just take it from the simple, go a little bit more advanced, and then go to a very critical thinking question here and be able to explain how they're related. And I did laminate it. I had to alter the file folder a little bit because my laminator was just for regular paper, but I laminated it and for storage, and I made sure that I had leveled questioning for my file folder. And that is it.